What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Just Simply Sports here with me. I am Kaja, and if you're new here, I need you to like and subscribe. If you're not new, you've been here. As I always say, I appreciate your continued support. Now, you guys, let's get into the topic of today, which is MV3 or a newly crowned MVP, you guys, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. This conversation I knew was coming, especially as the season is getting ready to pretty much end. For a while, it was, Josh and Saquon and Lamar had kind of took a backseat, but now it's like deadlock, right? It's deadlock between the two. I knew the Vegas odds are going to go up and down. But man, you guys, I know who I have for MVP. I'm going to play this clip for you, and then we're going to get into it really quickly because, man, out of all of the MVP conversation since I've been watching NFL, this time between Josh and Lamar Jackson has been the hardest, especially for me because I'm a fan of both. They are both my favorite quarterbacks, but I have to be honest and look at everything that happened this season. I don't go by what happened last season and things like that. I judge each season by that season specifically. I know a lot of conversations have been, well, last year this happened, last year that happened. Nope, this is a brand new season. Forget everything else that happened before. Let's just talk about what's going on right now in 2024, 2025 NFL season. Here we go.
It is really, really hard to vote on an MVP because Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson, to me, is the MVP frontrunner. And forget the stats, because if you look at these stats, Lamar only threw the ball 15 times, 168 yards, had one rush. If you watch the game, here you go. Yeah. Lamar Jackson looked like he is on a totally different planet than pro NFL athletes, the best athletes in the world. He looks like he's on a totally different planet playing the game of football. He is the MVP frontrunner, in my humble opinion. He's making everybody around him better. And I know people want to say, well, he has this, he has that. Lamar Jackson on the football field, there's not a game he walks off the football field where we don't say Ake is the best player. There is not a game that we say that. Lamar Jackson is the best player every time he steps on the field. In my humble opinion, he's the best player in the world right now playing the game of football. He's the MVP frontrunner, in my humble opinion.
This question is impossible to answer for me. I have no clue because, quite honestly, there are arguments to be made for both cats. Yeah. And when you watch Lamar, James is right. It looks like he's on another level than anyone else on an NFL football field. I feel like it's probably still Josh Allen. Even though we've seen Lamar go 43 total touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I think every person that's ever had MVP that's had over 40 touchdowns and less than 5 picks have won an MVP. This year is the first year where I'm not sure. And I think it's because you look at what Josh has done, 2 less losses, even though the stats for Lamar is better, Josh has 2 less losses, and he's done it with less talent around him. And I think that's sort of what you have to keep in mind.
You may say, why on earth did she choose that clip out of all the clips to include in her video? And it's simple, you guys. I love to be intentional about what I post and what I put out in general, be it on camera and in my everyday life. I do everything with a purpose, and I chose that clip specifically because they are both former NFL players. James Jones has won a Super Bowl with none other than Aaron Rodgers, who most say is the most talented quarterback to ever play the game, right? So if that's the case, if that's your opinion, then his value and his insight to me is one that I have to take into consideration. Chase Daniel. He's not a Patrick Mahomes, right? But he is a quarterback or was a quarterback in the NFL and played for 12 plus seasons. So again, more value and more insight. More than me. I'm just a fan watching the game. So I have my opinion, but I think the most interesting conversations are those that come from people who have different experiences, different walks of life, different backgrounds. I feel like when you come together, it makes for a more well-informed, fun, and great debate and or conversation. With that being said, Josh Allen is MVP, you guys. I've been saying Josh Allen, and I'm going to stick to it. Now, I feel bad saying that because Lamar is also a favorite quarterback. I love both of these quarterbacks, you guys. They're both my personal favorites. But you have to look at everything. When I say everything, I mean top to bottom. The Bills come into the season had nothing but question marks. Everyone expected, except me, that the Bills were going to take a step back because they didn't have Stephon Diggs. They didn't have Gabe Davis. It was like, well, Stephon, they had the tweets, last season, from Stephon's brother, he didn't look like he did before Stephon came, and, well, can Josh do it without Stephon, without Gabe, and what would they look like? Everybody thought that the Bills were going to be in this rebuilding phase, right? Having lost who they lost and only pretty much adding at the time Keon Coleman. And even that choice was met with criticism. Most people said Xavier Worthy was right there. Why would you give the Chiefs, out of all people, Xavier Worthy with that fastest running combine time in history, right? But they said, nah, we're going to go with Keon Coleman. And I think it was a better decision. Why? I feel like Keon Coleman, personally, in my opinion, from what I see, has more versatility. I think he's more of a total package. I think he has more to offer than Xavier Worthy. It's just my opinion, you guys. Obviously, you can feel differently if you like. We can argue about it in those comments. Now, they added Amari Cooper more so recently. He has not been a factor, you guys. He was not a factor. They won games without him. They're winning them without him. They're winning them with him. I don't really think that he made much of a difference, although it is good to have someone who, I guess, is higher caliber level of talent, if you want to call it that. But he didn't come in and make this franchise better, if you ask me. Nobody would take James Cook over Derrick Henry, right? If you look at Khalil Shakir, James Cook, Keon Coleman, Matt Milano has been hurt, Von Miller, he was suspended, but even though he's back, I'm not even sure what's going on with Von Miller, honestly speaking. You don't look at him and say he's who he used to be, right? He's not. So you think about not even including all the injuries. Keon Coleman was injured. He wasn't playing. Matt Milano was injured. There have been so many injuries that they have taken on the Bills' side this season, combined with who they have. You're just like, man, the Bills can't take anymore. Like, their defense is going down as the days and the weeks speak, right? Like, who else they're going to turn to? And somehow they are still winning games. Now, reports are also saying now that Josh has a broken hand, a fractured hand. I'm not even sure what. But if he's been playing all this time with a broken hand or a fractured wrist or whatever it is, how can you even more so deny this man being the most valuable player? To me, the most valuable player is someone who takes less and makes them look like they're more. And I don't want to be disrespectful to James Cook or Khalil Shakir and, the other ones that Keon Coleman that he has on his roster, because they are still NFL players. They still have talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So they're more talented than most. But to me, that's the mark of a good coach, when you can take less talent, so to speak, if you want to call it that, and still win and still contend. Miami Heat, Coach Spo, right? All the undrafted basketball players. They come and they compete hard. Whatever he has in that Miami Heat culture, that Heat culture is real. Because you can never count them out, especially in the playoffs, because they're going to always come in, they're going to fight, they're going to fight to the death, right? And that's with quote-unquote lesser talent, right? Now, when it comes to the Steelers, right? Mike Tomlin has had 18 winning seasons without the most talent at the quarterback position. Why? Because it lies in the defense. He's going to find a way to elevate the talent on that team to be able to contend, right? Who else? I can't think of the coach's name for the Browns. It's right tip of my tongue, you guys. But they went through how many quarterbacks last season? They had Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson. I mean, they went through 4 or 5 different quarterbacks, and they still managed to get to the playoffs. They didn't win, but I'm just saying. So whatever he was selling, hey, it's worked, right? And it worked. Just because you have a more talented roster does not mean that it will work. Now, Lamar is exceptionally talented. He is the exception. He looks like Superman, and so does Josh, right? But you have Derrick Henry. To me, it's really hard to look bad when you have such strong talent around you. You don't have to do as much when you have Zay Flowers, you have a Derrick Henry, you have a Mark Andrews, you have a Likely, you have a Bateman. When you have days where you're off, right? Like when you just like your legs might not be doing what needs to be done. You might not have you might just be throwing incompletions. You might just be throwing interceptions. You might have those games, right, where you're just not having a good game for whatever the reasons are. And when you have stronger talent around you, it can make it still look even better or make you still look just the same, because you don't have to do as much. Josh cannot afford to have bad games. Any game where Josh Allen is off, the Bills do not and will not win. He has way more to carry, but he looks and carries it like with ease. He simply does. For him to take James Cook and make him look like he is an all-pro level caliber of talent, to me speaks volumes to Josh Allen. It does. So for me, those are the reasons why Josh Allen is my MVP. And I'm interested to see what you guys think. I could go on and on about this topic, you guys, but for the sake of timing and not want to keep you here all night, I'm going to end this video right here. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know in those comments. I do read them. I do respond. And I will see you, of course, in the next video.